Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Tech Moment on Cannabis Tech. I'm your host, Christina Etter. In this podcast, we talk about some of the exciting, innovative science and technology in the cannabis and hemp industries. As this cannabis industry continues to mature, we learn more about the plant and the products that are made by it. Obviously, proper testing is absolutely critical. Compliance is critical. And the consumer is starting to become more savvy and demand more information about those products as well. In this episode, I'm speaking with one of the co-founders of Ionization Labs. Cree Crawford, the president of the company, is here to talk about one of their solutions for on-site cannabis testing, not just for compliance and for consumer knowledge, but also throughout the chain to give a level of quality assurance for cultivators and processors. Welcome to the show, Cree.
Hi, Christina. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So before we dive into this great technology behind the Can ID, can you tell us a little bit about Ionization Labs and what led you down this path?
Absolutely. I was involved in cultivation out in California. I had a number of collective operations in Northern California, and this was going back about 5-6 years ago. And testing became more and more prevalently requested by the dispensaries when we were delivering and donating product. I kind of took note, and it seemed that as I was envisioning that this industry was going to truly take off, and that when an industry like this takes off with something that's a consumable, testing would be a very, very prevalent part of the industry. I very quickly conferred with a dear friend of mine, a guy named Alex Andraus, who's my other co-founder and our CEO. And Alex is from the wine industry. We kind of compared notes, and we looked at what was currently available for testing of agricultural products, and we thought that there's got to be a better way. And so Alex and I put our heads together 3 years ago, launched Ionization Labs with the thought of creating a scalable potency testing solution. And scalable meaning has to be accurate. You don't want to sacrifice that, because bad data is useless data. So it has to be accurate, has to be cost effective, and has to be simple to operate. And on those three principles, we launched a product called Can ID. So that was kind of the impetus of where we are and where we started. And it's been pretty incredible ride for the last 3 years.
Absolutely. It's definitely been interesting to watch the cannabis industry mature and like you said, the consumer along with it, because I started as a bud tender in the industry about 3 years ago, and it was interesting to see the different levels of consumers and the types of information that they were asking for in the products when they came in to purchase. So it's interesting to see how all that's kind of evolved. So now let's talk tech just a little bit. Tell the audience a little bit about the technology behind Can ID that runs it, and then what exactly does it test for?
Sure, absolutely. So what Can ID is, we've created a total potency testing solution. It's a turnkey solution. So we take a piece of hardware, which is, we utilize the HPLC, which is a high-performance liquid chromatography unit. That is considered the gold standard for potency testing of cannabinoids. We took the hardware, and then we layered that with, it's pretty complicated to put together, but it was we took a software overlay to simplify this high-performance liquid chromatography analytical device to specifically turn it into only a potency testing solution for cannabinoids. So we stripped out all the very complicated chemistry software and simplified it so somebody could be trained to utilize this in just less than 2 hours. Then what we did was we layered in a subscription-based sample prep process kit. Now, if people are familiar with, or if they're not familiar with testing, one of the greatest points of variability is during the sample prep process. So when you're taking the raw flower or the extract and you're extracting the cannabinoids out of them, that's where so many variables can occur, where a technician has different methods for extracting. They're using different chemical profiles. And what we did was we simplified that step process to the minimal number of steps to still be effective. And then we also created in-house here, we provide our own chemistry that we blend, formulate, fill, and package and provide to all of the people that are on our subscription. So what you've got is, for the first time in the history of this industry, and I think many others, is we've got a beginning and an end platform that is consistent. So you've got a deployed CanID solution, say in California, a CanID solution deployed in Florida, Canada. They're all operating off the exact same platform, and we're cloud-based as well. So we can monitor these systems ongoing to make sure and ensure that they are still in accuracy. So it's we're really excited about what we're doing, and bringing consistency to an industry that has had a tremendous amount of inconsistencies has been a big lift, but we're very excited to be here.
Absolutely, and you're right. It's really nice to see that consistency being put into place. You know, there's so many of those horror stories out there, especially right now in the hemp industry, with CBD products not being labeled properly, or being too high in THC, or not being high enough in CBD, and people not getting the benefit that they need. So it's really nice to see that there's going to be multiple testing options to allow processors and retailers, or you know, the producers, to be able to have these tests and make sure that the products are accurate. So, and the way I see this is that there's multiple layers throughout the supply chain then that this could be used in, not just like we were talking about from just the end product perspective, but you're talking also to cultivators and processors. You want to talk about some of those cases?
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, so at the end of the day, we're truly an aggregated data company. So we're capturing this chemical data that is very applicable throughout the whole ecosystem, like you said. If you can imagine from a growers and farming situation, you know, from cannabis, you know, they're trying to grow strains with very high exotics. Now people are looking at the CBNs, the CBGs, some very interesting cannabinoids that are showing great promise with medicinal therapies. In the hemp side, you've got to make sure that your crop is not going hot, right? And that's above the 0.3%. And so during to be able to have our unit on site during the whole growth process, can ensure that your crop stays below that red threshold, so you can understand what nutrients you're using in fertigation throughout your crop cycle, to understand what's going to keep your crop at a certain level and stay legal. The other standpoint, or the other application on the compliance side, which helps everybody, would be a scenario where I'm sure you've probably heard where certain shipments of hemp product have been going across state lines and being pulled over, and the crop is being mistaken for marijuana when it's truly hemp. The crop is being put into a storage facility, and the crop goes bad, say it gets moldy, and then who's liable? Unfortunately, they're finding that law enforcement is liable, and it's sadly because they don't have the tools necessary to be able to identify quickly and accurately whether something is legally marijuana or legally hemp. That's another practical application for the CanID solution. There's a myriad of other applications. We are actually, through the tremendous amount of data that we've aggregated, we've formulated some interesting calculations that'll help people with mitigation of certain levels of THC if they're trying to get below a certain level, or if they're trying to increase levels. So we're working on some really interesting stuff. And again, as I said, at the end of the day, we're data aggregators, and it's how you want to apply that chemical data to make your business run more efficiently.
Well, that's a great segue into my next question, Cree. So as I was browsing through your website, one of the things that I noticed is that you do have some updates that are coming soon that are, from what I understand, going to help the machine to test for even more things. Do you want to talk about those updates and what's on the horizon for Ionization Labs?
Absolutely. So currently, we can test for 14 cannabinoids: the Delta 9, THC Delta 8, THCA, THCV, THCVA, CBD, CBDA, all the CBDs, CBGA. And what we're looking at now in the next 90 to 120 days will be the release of another solution which will test for terpenes and residual solvents. And if you can think, and you know this is a bud tender, if you can combine the cannabinoid profile with a terpene profile and even a flavonoid profile, you've got a really definitive, accurate profile of that strain or that specific product that you've got in front of you. And that's really exciting, because then you can sort of start to apply medicinal values with those different chemical profile combinations. So we feel that rounding out our solution with a terpene layer solution really provides a total gamut of data that's required to produce information about a specific product that someone's either creating, trying to replicate, or with medicinal value, if we're talking about marijuana.
Absolutely. And it's just amazed me how much we've learned, just within the last 5-10 years in combinations of cannabinoids and terpenes and different compounds and the effects that they make. So it's so exciting to see what's on the horizon for cannabis and this market. So finally, the last thing I want you to do is simply tell our audience where they can go to learn more about CanID and Ionization Labs.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. You can learn more on our website. It's a very extensive website. We put a lot of great time and effort into it. And we really are focused on the educational side of things as well. We figure that through education, people will come to realize the benefits of what we're offering and drive utilization. So our website that people can come visit us at is www.ionizationlabs.com. That's IONIZATION labs.com. And love to answer any questions you have. We've got a form field with questions and a questionnaire that anybody can reach out to us. We're really excited to be here, and we're very excited to be part of a very profound movement in our industry, both hemp and marijuana. And even now with the Farm Bill, hemp is gathering so much more momentum right now with us, with the requirements that they're having. Because truly, it comes down to a legal definition of percentage of THC, and that is derived from understanding what the potency is of different products. So thank you so much for having us today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for being on the show today, Cree. I appreciate your time.